I'm here. I'm so excited. I've snatched him during his book tour here in Chicago, and we are going to talk about his new book, and it is called What's Your Body Telling You? And I've got to say, when I first read this, I thought, my body's telling me to go have a glass of wine and go to sleep, but that is not what he's talking about, in particular, like, sort of, but not really. So we're going to talk about Steve's book, and thank you for coming and talking to me.
Absolutely. Checked out your website and I said, I got to get on there.
Oh, great. I'm so glad. Well, I have several questions for you, but let's just start off by telling our visitors and our viewers, what can we expect to find in this book? What's your body telling you? Like, give us a snippet of what it's really about.
Sure. Well, in a snippet, there are several levels of listening. And the first level is, do I listen to myself? Meaning, like, I could be driving to work, gripping the wheel and not knowing it because I'm thinking about what happened at the breakfast table. And then I could have my shoulders up here and I'm thinking about all this stuff, and then I get to work and I go, oh, I have the worst neck ache in my back, and I have no idea what's going on. So that's one. Self-awareness to stress, we'll be holding the computer mouse and then we get carpal tunnel, we have no idea.
Right.
On one deeper level would be that I have found, because my background was marketing, communications, and I would watch people, and I had a sales team, and I'd say, that person's not breathing, or that person's body language is saying something different than their words. So I started to go into the body to find out what might be blocking people from success. And I found that what lives in the body are what I call viral beliefs. Things that happened, we held our breath, we held it in, and then it became a pattern. And as we go along, I'll give you examples of where I've helped people break through writer's block, break through success, relationship issues. So it's really in the body, because the body was there from day one.
Right.
It holds on to everything.
So you talk a lot about BQ as opposed to IQ. I want to know what that's all about. BQ.
Okay. Well, BQ is that awareness again. A high BQ would say, oh, I noticed I was kind of crunching up. Let me take a breath. A high BQ would be, oh, I noticed in the sales call I'm leaning forward, my customer's leaning back. A good example is the first time I went on TV. I'm very confident, as you can tell, and excited. I was in the green room. This was another book I did. And I was in the green room, and they called my name, and I started sweating profusely and got really anxious. I'm like, what is going on here? I've been waiting for this moment. And what happened was I took a moment, and I breathed and tuned in and noticed my body was getting small, and it reminded me of when I was 9 years old. The first time I left my little safe neighborhood of row houses and aunts and uncles everywhere. We went up with my cousins and we went up to the main thoroughfare, and we got beat up. And we ran home and didn't tell anyone. And living in my body to this day is, gee, if you go too far, you're not safe. So be able to have a high BQ and go, okay, Steve Sisgold, you're on in 3 minutes. I breathed, I felt that in my body, I remembered kind of that 9-year-old feeling, I shook it out, and I walked onto the TV set very relaxed.
You know, a lot of my visitors to this blog are moms, of course, and as busy, on-the-go moms, juggling a lot of things. Can you give us just a couple little tips, or maybe one tip that could help us just begin the process of becoming more aware of what our bodies might be telling us?
Yes.
Because, we hardly have time to, like, go to the bathroom by ourselves. And also, like, the other thing is, when we're sick, there's no substitute coming in. I often say to my husband, if you're sick, you get a sick day. He doesn't do it often, ever. But if he is sick, he gets to stay home. And if I'm sick, there's no one coming in for me. So we tend to trudge on through those feelings and those physical ailments. So I'm just wondering if there's, like, one thing that could get us started on the path.
Oh, absolutely. I have a technique called SET.
Okay.
And the reason I call it SET, it stands for self-evident truth, which means if you tell me, it's not hot in here and I'm feeling hot, my tendency, because a lot of us grew up with, Mommy, I'm really hot, I want to take my sweater off. You're not hot, it's not hot in here.
I'm guilty of doing that to my
And
kids.
then what happens is we start to go, well, gee, maybe I don't know what I'm feeling. So several times throughout the day, try this exercise, self-evident truth. It starts this way. Breathe. Constantly around your children, breathe. First of all, you'll model it for them. Second of all, am I breathing from my belly or my chest? If you breathe from your belly, you're going to be more relaxed. If you watch a healthy baby, their bellies go up and down. We're in the fight or flight, sympathetic nervous system, and we're running around. It's not really healthy for us or our children. Secondly, Scan your body. Just notice. While I'm running around, while my child said that, my child doesn't feel well, what's happening? A good example is my son broke his jaw playing football, and I walked around like this for about 5 months because he had his jaw wired.
Right.
And I constantly had to remind myself, relax your jaw, Steve, relax your jaw, because I kind of took on his thing.
Oh, wow. We do internalize what our kids are feeling.
Exactly.
This was something that I was reading in your book, and it was under the title, Dive Afraid. And this just struck with me because I'm often telling my kids, do it scared. Do it scared. Sometimes you got to do it scared. And it was very similar to what you're saying, except I didn't have the tool to help him do something when he was afraid of it. I would say, sometimes we have to do things when we're afraid, and you just are going to have to push through. But there was this technique and this tool you had brought up about naming it and sort of saying, I am afraid. I want to do this, but I'm afraid. Can you elaborate? Because I know I'm not doing it justice.
I think you're doing beautifully.
Okay.
Thank you for reading the book so thoroughly.
Sure.
Well, first of all, I call it separating the boxes. Here's box one. Box one is we all have a desire. Our energy goes up. I want to write a book.
Right.
And then when I'm with clients, I'll count. 1, 1,000, 2. By the time I get to 3, usually their energy's dropping. They're going, oh, but who needs another book?
Right.
I want to, and the dive afraid comes from, you've always wanted, like I lived on Maui, you've always wanted to go on this certain cliff and dive in the ocean. You dream of it. And you fly out to Maui and you climb up and you're ready to dive. That's what you want, one hand. And the other hand has old fears from falling or something. It goes, but I'm afraid. Now you're at a choice point. Okay?
Right.
And at that moment, you could climb down and feel more comfortable in the moment, but you're going to fly back on, I went all the way there and I didn't do it.
Right.
So what happens is the but entangles the desire. I want, but, and that's what usually happens. So I'm saying keep them separate. Yes, it's true you have a desire, and yes, you're afraid. Keep them separate, dive afraid.
I'm afraid. And
But you gotta
acknowledge,
teach
I'm
them-
afraid, and this is fear, but I still want this.
Yeah, I have both. That happens all the time, right? I have a desire and I have an emotion. The emotion overrides and clouds the desire. The desire won't happen. We can keep them separate. We can have both.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now,